Now, let's take a look at one more together. What about actually reading? All right, because that was opening. So what about actually reading? Syntax for reading. And this is going to be a little bit different now because we're not just opening a file and running that method and using these variants on the enum with a match, right? What we want to do is actually go through the text value and read that value. And to do that, we're actually going to use the IO, which is the input-output in the standard library. So we're going to add one more import here. We're going to do use std, and we're going to grab IO. And specifically from IO, we're going to take three things. We want error, right? We want read, because we're going to be reading. And we want argument, which is buff reader. And actually buff reader I think is just one. But buff reader just, buff reader just provides a buffering component for reading. It's a good trick to add, so I just want to show you that. So we're throwing that in. And we're going to make our main function more robust now, so we're going to go and bring in our result. Our main function is actually going to return an anonymous function or the error. And let's go down now and write the code to read. So the first thing is we want to open the file. So we're going to create a file variable. We're going to say let file equals, and we'll grab from our file. We want file name, and then we're going to write a mutable reader. Oops, not rater. And that we're going to set to our buff reader. And this is going to be a new file. And we're going to make our contents also a variable, which will also be new. And let's get some more space here. And now we can access from our reader, we have the method read to string. And you can kind of learn what these are. I'm not going to go into every single one, but just to kind of show you what you could do. And then of course we need to do add content. These question marks, if you're curious what this does, is basically the shorthand form to unpack the error handling. It'll unpack the result if it's okay, and if it's not, then it'll return the error. So it's a great way to just write it. So if you're wondering what those question marks are, it just cuts down the boilerplate for us and provides a little bit of sprinkled magic. And let's print the contents. So then you just want to print the contents here. So if this code works, we should see the print. This is the contents. Since there's no actual file contents, we're not going to get anything. I don't even know if these files are being stored, but let's just put this in to see that it works or not. Finally, we want to pass OK, and OK is going to take that anonymous function. All right, so for read, what do we do? Well, we have a file that can open up the file name. It provides better reading handling. Okay, we have the contents, which is just this new string. It has nothing in it because it's new. So reader, we read to string the contents, and we're going to print this as the contents. So let's run this code and see what's going on. And if we look at the bottom, we see this is the contents. And so this is some of the enum variant methodology for setting up reading, as well as opening and writing with inputs and outputs in Rust. Now this is quite conceptual. It gets a little bit deeper, which is why, again, you're in a more advanced section. But it's important to kind of see how these things come together, and hopefully this clarifies a lot of the confusing syntax that you could see in Rust if you're just starting on the language, depending where you're coming from, and realize, oh, actually this is pretty awesome how this is set up and how you can just grab from these standard libraries the input-output, things such as reading, buff reader, file from the file system, and it makes for reading and writing quite nice in Rust. And so that, all of this being said, let's take this information, sit with it, you can play around with it, get the code working on your end, and when you feel comfortable, let's actually move into the cargo tool, which is a very, very useful, important tool, part of Rust. And we can actually step out of this IDE and step into our command line on our computers, okay? All right, good stuff. I hope this helped clarify some of these concepts for you, and whenever you're ready, I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.